Good morning, everyone. We are coming to you live via Facebook streaming, via YouTube streaming, and also via Skype online. Each one of you is welcomed to this Christmas season for live streaming. I will continue to speak based on the life of Sufi Lakshmi Sahai from his work Tasawwur Sheikh. Master appears when the disciple is ready. Master appears when the disciple is ready. This is a very important Sufi parable. Once somebody asked Sheikh Lalaji how to do meditation. He remained quiet. He said meditation is not done. It is a state, inner state, and it cannot happen until your surrender is complete. Surrender is not to any authority outside. Surrender is an inner phenomenon. Surrender is to your consciousness. When you have surrendered to your consciousness, that means you are not guided by the mind, you are guided by the consciousness. Someone has insulted you. You are a very moral person, full of etiquette. You do not want to have any expression on your face or anything. But deep down, this person's word that you consider as insult has thrown a stone in your inner lake, and many waves are arising, many thoughts are arising. Physically, on the outside, there may not be any action, but deep down there is a lot of actions going on. Thoughts going on, thought is an action, is going on. When you are guided by your consciousness, you can see what is going on within. He said, meditation is a state when there is no turmoil in the mind. It is that state of mind when there is tranquility, there is harmony, there is understanding. This can come only when you are guided by your consciousness. Observe many times, not many times, always you encounter certain situations on a day-to-day basis. Someone insults you, many thoughts arise in you, but you are meditative, saying that you are doing the meditation. Something you wanted to happen in a particular way and it does not happen, many thoughts arise. At that moment when something is happening on the outside, there may be action outside, but deep down there is no action, there is tranquility, there is deep understanding, there is harmony. There is deep harmony. And in that matter, a sentence comes in, whatsoever is happening, I know it not why it is happening. It is like you have a chapter and you take a line from a paragraph and you try to analyze and judge that chapter. The whole scene you do not know, you just pick up a streak out of that and trying to make a judgment. This is not meditation. You do not know why is this happening, what is the wish of the masters, and in that, if you are guided by your consciousness, there will be tranquility, there will be no inner movement. This is what Lao Tse says, woo wee woo. There is no action in inaction. Outside you are walking, you are doing everything, exercise, but deep down there isn't anything going on. Deep down, as if the inner lake is tranquil and there is not even a single wave arising. That is the state of meditation. When there is no inner movement, can it happen by doing? Doing is the preparation for that. When it happens, there is no doing on its own. It happens on its own. Lakshmi Sai, in the company of his master, attained to that state. And last few years she spent only in rejoicing his inner tranquility. Just he's sitting down by himself as if he has no worries, he has nothing to do. Just drown in that inner lake of silence. This is what meditation is all about. Not doing, but in a state of non-doing. You are guided by your consciousness. You have surrendered to your consciousness, so there is no movement within. Osho has a disciple called Bhuri Devi. She came from a remote village in Rajasthan, illiterate. She did not understand, she did not read any scriptures, but she understood truth. She was 77 when Osho had the first camp she came in. She used to call him, out of respect, Bappaji. And she had some followers who were helping her. They came, so all of them came. There was an physical meeting with Osho. He sat down. Then came the time for meditation. But Bhuri Devi went in her room. This person was baffled that we have come here to attend to the meditation camp, and when the time for meditation has come, she has gone in the room. So he goes to her room and asks her, why we have come here for meditation and you have gone in the room. She said, I have understood. I have understood. Man baffled. What did you understand? What did you understand? We have come here meditation, and when it is time for meditation session to begin, you have come inside the room and say, I have known. She told him to go and ask Bappaji, ask Osho. When he goes and he asks him, he said she understood meditation is not doing, is a state of non-doing. When you are guided by your consciousness, there is nothing to gain, nothing to achieve. Everything is right there. Just open your eyes and see. We are restless for so many things. Everything is there once you open your eyes. People say, God, open the door, and loud prayers. I am calling and open the door. Stupid, watch it. The door is always open. God's door is never closed. It's always open. Your eyes are closed, so that's why you cannot see that the door is open, and you are lamenting unnecessarily. So she understood that meditation is a state of non-doing. There isn't anything to do. You are surrendered to your consciousness. Consciousness knows it is true. It is a manifestation of truth. You have nothing to do. Just in that state of non-doing, meditation begins to happen. Grass grows by itself. You do not have to do anything outwardly. Nobody knows that what you're doing. People ask me how long you have been meditating. It's 40 years I stopped meditating. There is no need for meditation. Someone dies, someone is born, there is happiness, there is sorrow. All this is a play, a leela that is happening. A wave rises, it must die. You are nothing else but a wave on this ocean of life. जिंदगी के समंदर में उठा था एक दिन लहरों सा, जिंदगी के समंदर में उठा था एक दिन लहरों सा, मिट आज चला सागर की गहराई में, रह गई ये खामोशी सी हर मौज में, रह गई ये खामोशी सी हर मौज में, तूफानों को जैसे साहिल मिल गया हर रह गुजर में, तूफानों को जैसे साहिल मिल गया हर रह गुजर में. जिंदगी के समंदर में, लाइफ इज एन ओशन ऑफ ब्लिस. उठा था एक दिन लहरों सा, आई रोज लाइक वन ऑफ द वेव्स, वन ऑफ द मिरियड वेव्स. जिंदगी के समंदर में उठा था एक दिन लहरों सा, मिट आज चला सागर की गहराई में. I have understood the essence of meditation, essence of life, essence of living in the company of the Master. मिट आज चला सागर की गहराई में. What is सागर की गहराई? The Master is the depth of the ocean. I have dissolved into my Master, attained to a state of full shake. First this state comes, you are absorbed in the Master. Absorbed in the Master means absorbed in consciousness. You have surrendered to the consciousness. The moment you have surrendered to the consciousness, you have surrendered to God, you have surrendered to Master, you have surrendered to whatsoever be the source. मिट आज चला सागर की गहराई में. The moment you have connected to that consciousness, you have drowned in the depth of your being. The depth, Master represents your consciousness. Master represents your inner state. रह गई एक खामोशी सी हर मौज में. There is tranquility in every turmoil. Turmoils come on the surface, but deep down in the depth of the ocean, if you go deep, there is tranquility. On the surface of the ocean's wave rise and fall. There is a turmoil, a disturbance. There isn't anything, just tranquility. रह गई एक खामोशी सी हर मौज में, तूफानों को जैसे साहिल मिल गया हर रह गुजर में. तूफान means turmoil, साहिल means किनारा, the shore. As if in every turmoil I have gained, I have acquired, I have attained to that sign. The destination. What is the destination? Inner tranquility, inner harmony. When in the West, where I live, we are 9.5 hours behind the Indian Standard Time. It was on 10th of December 2018, I got a call from my son that grandpa, my father Sufi Lakshmi Sahai, passed away. there is tranquility. I have known that one day this wave will disappear, but it has disappeared many, many moons before. Many, many moons before, this wave has dissolved in the vastness of the ocean. Many moons ago. So this is just formality. The body has to complete its cycle, but he was not alive to the turmoils. He was not in the waves. Instead, he was in the depth of the ocean. He was surrendered to his consciousness. He has attained to the state of fana-fuel shake. And then, when you are dissolved in the master, then it state comes in fana-fuel murid, when the master is so pleased with you that he dissolves into you. He begins to take care of you. In the beginning, you have to dissolve into consciousness, surrender to the consciousness, to your inner depth. And then in the final analysis, it is the consciousness that takes care of you. It is the ultimate. It is the existence that takes care of you. The master is existence. It's not a person. When the existence assumes, manifests through a particular body-mind realm, we know that, but we can only see the body-mind realm, but we cannot see the innerness of that person. The moment you are connected to the innerness of the person, that is when it is said, the disciple is ready and master appears. Before that, the master is not there. He may be there for you, but he is not there. This is a Sufi proverb, a unique way of parable to say all that cannot be said in words and directly. This has been a Sufi tariqah. From earlier Sufis to Shah Bahauddin Naqshband to the present day Sufis, all use parables. Sheikhs even devise their own parables and anecdotes to continue the tariqat, the way, not shariat, the body of law. Tariqat means the way and nisbat means inner connection. There are 4 pillars of Sufism. A certain man decided to seek a perfect master. What you will do? You want to seek a perfect master? I am looking for a master. As if you have the capabilities to judge a master. And you are going to judge the master. How? By his outer appearance. How many disciples he has? How many degrees he has? That is the only criteria you have. So he read many books, visited many masters and sheikhs one after the other, listened to different sheikhs, practiced and argued as well, but of no avail. He always found himself doubtful of all he was doing or hearing. Also he was unsure. Such is the situation of each one of you. After a long search of 20 years, he came across a sheikh, a master whose every word and action corresponded with his idea of totally realized master. It is your idea how the master should look like that you decide. So after a long search of 20 years, he came across a sheikh, a master whose every word and action corresponded with his idea of a totally realized one. The traveler wasted no time. You, he said, seem to me to be the perfect master. If you are, then my search is over. This is ego, this is ignorance. Then I beg of you, the master said, I am indeed, watch his words, what he said. I am indeed described by that name. He's not saying I am a perfect master. I am indeed described by that name and quality, replied the master. Described. Others describe me by that name. Then I beg you to accept me as your disciples, said the person. That, the master replied, I cannot do. Why you cannot do? You are a perfect master, and you seem to me to be the description, according to description, the perfect master. The master replied that. The master responded, I cannot do. Because while you were in desire of a perfect master, you were searching for a perfect master. But he in turn requires only perfect disciples. You are not ready. You are still guided by your mind, not by your consciousness. Is still guided by your mind. This is the whole parable. This happens only with a real master, not with a counterfeit. He will like to have install you, like to include you in his fold because the number is increasing. This happens only when a real master, not with counterfeit. Real master will come to you when you are ready. And a counterfeit will advertise for the recruitment of disciples. He will advertise, or a disciple will interview many masters before he chooses the one. Many times, so-called, the moment one decides to go on a spiritual path, I am looking for a good master. You are looking for a good master to be your master, or you are looking for someone who can fulfill your will. The master appears only when the disciple is ready. This is not philosophy or Sufi scripture. Also, this is not the Sufi way alone. Instead, this is how it happens in the world of spiritualism, in the inner world. This never happens in any other way, and also at no other time in man's eternal journey. When the disciple is ready, the master appears. When the disciple is ready, the master appears. I am speaking to you out of my own experience. The entire chain of Sufi masters, Naqshbandi masters, starting from Hazrat Payghambar sallallahu alaihi wasallam to the current master, bears testimony to it. It's a long chain. If you cut off the chain that is hanging from a rooftop, and how can you reach to the rooftop? In order to reach to the rooftop, you need the ladder that goes from the ground to the ground level to the top. Sufis have four major paths that have emanated from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala via his messenger, his prophet. They are Naqshbandiya, Suhrawardiya, Qadariya and Chishtiya. My purpose of these talks, these live streamings, is your transformation. And for this, all that is necessary I will have to use. I am like a physician to whom the health of the patient matters, not the source. You go to the hospital, they are not interested in letting you, while you are in the hospital, use the alternate medicines. And they do not have answers to all the problems, all the sickness that are there. But if someone else does, no, you cannot use it here. I am a physician to whom the health of the patient matters, not the source. Names or anything else of medicine are not relevant. This is the reason my purpose is to expose you to various paths so that somewhere along the way you discover the familiar splendors in an unknown face. My purpose is to expose you to various paths so that somewhere along the way, along the journey, you discover the familiar splendor in an unknown path. Familiar splendor in an unknown path. Also, I am here to give you insights into each and every flower of this Garden of Eden that is being nourished and nurtured by God Himself as the gardener. Along the path, I will take you on a voyage through various such flowers: Socrates, Pythagoras, Heraclitus, Lao Tse, Bodhidharma, Chuang Tzu, Lizu, Krishna, Mahavir, Buddha, Ramakrishna, Aurobindo, Osho, Raman, Ram, Krishna, Meera, and many more. The flowers are many, only you have to be prepared for this journey. As far as I am concerned, I am visiting the planet only for this purpose, for a shorter period of time. With each day, my time to leave is coming closer. I am visiting this planet only for this purpose, so that a religious man can take birth of you. In this process of growth of disciples, in this process of growth, the disciple has to earn the eyes to see the beauty of the flowers and the nostrils to feel the fragrance. Flowers are blossoming every moment, but if you do not have eyes, you cannot see the beauty. The sky is filled with stars of immense beauty, but not for you. The sun rises in immense beauty and splendor, but not for you. Unless you develop eyes, there is no beauty. So too, if there is no love in your heart overflowing, you will not discover the beloved. Only love can discover love. Only lover can discover beloved. Only eyes can find. Only eyes can find beauty, and only innocence of the airs can find music and melody. Only the innocence of the airs can find music and melody. The world is full of people who go on searching something outside even without creating a corresponding receptivity within. When electric current passes through the wire and reaches to the terminal, there is negative current already available to receive that positive current. If that receptivity in that electrical terminal is not there, the positive current cannot do anything. Your heart should be capable of receiving what it is coming, what the Master is giving to you. That inner receptivity is your preparation. That is what it is said. The moment disciple is ready, Master appears. And this is what had happened to Sufi Lakshmi Sahib. His master's Sufi Naqshbandi Brij Mohan Lal was dissolved into him. And he has attained not only to the state of Fanafiul Shaykh but Fanafiul Murid. Last few years, since 2011, his time was being spent in his inner tranquility. He doesn't have to do meditation, but meditation was happening. I have come across many seekers who go on searching for the Master and remain unaware the disciple within is absent. The inner receptivity is not there. How can the positive current can go and interact with that? Disciple within is one side of the receptivity. It prepares the ground for the Master to reach you. Only this receptivity can attract the Master, the inner preparation. Remember, Master is not an objective phenomenon. Master is not an objective phenomenon. First, the Master has to be something inside you. First, the Master has to be something inside you. Master inside means the disciplehood. Master inside means surrender to your consciousness. Chetana ko samarpan. Surrender to the consciousness. A preparation, a thirst, an intense desire, a passion for exploring truth. In most of the people, this is lacking. And then such a person goes on in search of the Master and he cannot find. And he ends up with the counterfeit. He may come across many Masters, but he will go on missing. You cannot find a Master unless you are vulnerable. You cannot see a Master unless the disciple is born in you. You have surrendered to your consciousness. The search for the Master begins with the search for being a disciple, with the surrender to your consciousness. A real seeker does not bother about searching the Master. His whole concern is to give birth to the disciple in him, to surrender to his consciousness. Being a disciple means how to be a learner, how to be open to reality. Being disciple means how to function through your innocence. Functioning out of a state of knowledge, a priori conclusions, is not going to help you in the process of your inward growth. Functioning out of your state of knowledge, a priori conclusion is not going to help you in the process of inward growth. When you are functioning from the state of knowledge, you will find many teachers, not a Master, not an awakened being. If you know something already or think that you know, you will only find a knower. You can only meet persons like you. A person who functions from the state of knowledge will only find many teachers and will continue to learn. Such a person will never find a Master. To find a Master, you have to be childlike. That's why Jesus says, someone asked, Nicodemus asked, who can enter the kingdom of your Father? Only one who is childlike, who has attained to that childlike innocence, utterly innocent, empty of any conclusions, only full of passion for truth. Then suddenly you will find you need not go anywhere. The Master will come to you instead. Master appears only when the disciple is ready. Such is the promise of God to you. The existence wants you to explore your potential, so it continues to watch your inner preparation. Such seek the disciple in you first, then the master will appear. This is one of the basic requirements for a seeker. The seeker has to be a learner. Who is a learner? Definitely not the one who has a priori conclusions. Instead, one who always functions out of innocence. What is innocence? Oh, wonder. The eyes are full of wonder. Eyes are full of wonder. Should not carry any conclusion. Because when you have conclusions, you cannot learn. When you have conclusions, you want only confirmations. And when you go to learn from anyone and something goes against your conclusions, your ego feels hurt. Then you are not learning anything. In such a case, your old prejudice is strengthened more. A master wants you to grow and not gather anything superficial. A master creates situations for your potentiality to explode. If a master tells you something that agrees with you, then you cannot learn. Remember, you want the master to say something that agrees with you. It can never happen. A master creates situations for your potentiality to grow. If a master tells you something that agrees with you, then you cannot learn. It will simply strengthen your old mind. And a master cannot do this. He has to destroy the old for the new to take birth. He takes away the burden of all that you have been carrying. His role is to create a space within. His role is to create this space within you. When you cling to conclusions, philosophies, ideas, conclusions and prejudice, you can never meet a master. He has to destroy all these. No speculations about conclusions are needed. He is interested in real thing, not the conclusions. Iranian mystical poet Omar Khayyam says, "What shall you gain by talking about those who are drunk? क्या हो हासिल उनके जिक्र से? क्या हो हासिल उनके जिक्र से जो पीकर मस्त हुए हैं?" What shall you gain by talking about those who are drunk and gone? Who have drunk the elixir that sake creates. No matter how much is said about anything, it will remain far from reality. Reality cannot be put in the words. Truth cannot be put into the words. It is inexpressible. Become a disciple. Seek to be a disciple, and then you will really know that the master appears. But the master appears in strange ways and means. Sometimes, one thing is certain, master always happens. When someone is ripe, God starts coming in many ways. Master is the last visible form. God descends in. Master is the last formful existence. Beyond that is formlessness. Beyond him only formlessness exists. Master is the last one who looks like you, talks like you, lives like you, to whom you can touch, whom you can relate. However, in fact, he is like you plus much more. Beyond him there is silence. Beyond him there is bodilessness. Beyond him there is formlessness. An enlightened Raman used to say to his disciples, "If you want to be with me, you have to unlearn. If you do not unlearn, then I have nothing to give you. You are already full. Such is the situation of all the masters. Now there is a Zen story. Once a professor of philosophy went to a Zen master, Bankei. The professor heard that Bankei is living on top of the mountain. He reached there. He asked him many questions about God, karma, incarnation, and many more. This is how your situation is. You come to me, ask many questions. You are not ready to listen. You are not there to receive what I have come to give you. Questions after questions, the learned one continued. Listening to this, the master said, "You have climbed up the mountain. You seem to be tired. The journey to this place was long. I can see you are sweating. Coming up the hill on this hot summer afternoon, you wait. There is no hurry. You can take rest until I make a cup of tea. And who knows, while drinking the tea, you may get the answer." The professor baffled. How can drinking the tea get me the answer? He said that this man seems to be mad. People have already told him that Bankei is crazy. He became suspicious. But then he thought, how can the question be answered just by drinking tea? Now he was stuck. There is no way to escape. So he thought that tea is not going to harm in any way. He decided to have the tea and then escape. The master brought the tea in a pot, an empty cup with a saucer. Bankei handed over the cup in the saucer to the learned one. The professor held the cup and waited for the master to pour the tea from the pot. Master continued to pour. The cup got filled, but the tea began, and the master continued. Tea began to overflow in the saucer, but the master continued. Soon the saucer also got full, and the tea was about to drop on the ground. The professor shouted, "Are you mad or what? Can't you see the cup is full? Now the saucer is also full. There is no room in it. It cannot take any more, and you are watchlessly continuing to pour tea." Bankei gave a hearty laugh and said, "So you are intelligent. You can understand, and understand well. If there is no room in the cup, then we cannot pour any more tea into the cup. Is there any space in your head, in the cup that your mind is? I would like to pour all that I am." This is what the master says. I am willing, ready to pour all that I am. But you have no space in your cup. You are already full of your conditionings, your conclusions, a priori conclusions. But there is no space. Your conditionings, beliefs, and ways of the rituals. This is my answer. Go and come back when you are empty. This is my answer, said Bankei. If you are full of knowledge, then you cannot hear. Bankei did not say he would like to tell him all he knew. No master says that I will tell you all that I know. Master says I will pour all that I know into you. This is how the master and disciple relation is. So Brij Mohan Lal poured all that was into him. He said he would like to pour all that he is. This is significant. This is how a master works. When the master found, Brij Mohan Lal found Lakshmi Sahai ready, he poured his entire cup into him. And that is when he attained to the state of fana-fueled murid. There is a Sufi expression. There was a particular town where Sufi Raghuvar Dayal, the younger brother of Lalaji, was married. So now and then he will visit that place. So whenever he goes there, a Pandit used to come to him. But out of his ignorance that he came from a higher caste, he never bowed down to the master. Viewing this, the master, bowing to any master or putting head on the master's feet is very significant. It means you have come to receive. And when the master puts his hands over your head, it is the grace. Pandit always showed respect to the master but never bowed down to the master. Now this was the last meeting. Maybe something had happened. It was the last visit to the Sufi master. It was the last visit of the Sufi Raghuvar Dayal before he entered Samadhi. So when the Pandit came to see the Sufi, he always had love for him. So whenever he heard that the Sufi has come, he will come and visit him. But somehow this time he put his head on his feet. At this the Sufi said, Pandit, by putting your head on my feet will do nothing. Put all that garbage that you have inside it. Put all that conditioning that you have inside. Put all that a priori conclusions, all that knowledge that you are Pandit, you know this, you know that, at the feet. Time flowed on, nothing happened. Many years after the master had entered Samadhi and the Pandit had inner preparation, he had to go to another Naqshbandi master in the physical form, who happened to be Sufi Brij Mohan Lal, the son of Raghuvar Dayal. And he attained to innerness. Let me explain in the same light another anecdote. It is also relevant. A man named Shiv Narayan Das Gandhi followed a master, Latuji, who was the disciple of Swami Vivekananda. One day Shiv Narayan expressed the desire of initiation to Latuji. Do you know what did Swami Latuji Maharaj, the fellow disciple of Vivekananda, told him? He said, I cannot initiate you. Your share is not with me. Such is the state of real master. On inquiring, Swami told this man to continue what he was doing and said, your master will recognize you. Many years passed. One day Shiv Narayan came to the company of Sufi Raghuvar Dayal, who was living in the city of Kanpur. So later one day he expressed his desire to be initiated by Sufi Raghuvar Dayal. Raghuvar Dayal asked him to wait until his eldest son Sufi Brij Mohan Lal visits the town and approach him for initiation. He knew who his share was with whom. One day it happened Sufi Brij Mohan Lal visited the town. As people gathered, Shiv Narayan tried to be there, and everyone was coming and paying the respect to the master, but he was standing in the corner and he tried to introduce himself to the master. And you know what did Sufi Brij Mohan Lal, the master, said? He said, I already know you. I know you. Know you means I know your innerness. This amazed Shiv Narayan, and same time he remembered the words of Swami Latuji Maharaj, your master will recognize you. When you are ready, the master will recognize you and will come to you. If you do not have inner preparation, one of my good friend Nikhil, he has attained. Very simple words he uses. No scriptural explanation, injunctions or anything. But truth manifests those words. Sometimes his simple words I take and present to you in a way that is acceptable. Meditation cannot happen until you have surrendered to your consciousness. He is a beautiful soul who has attained. I have seen him growing. Ever since I had known him, I have seen him, he has progressed and attained to that innerness, to reach to that Buddhahood. A beautiful person. Sufis have unique way. Such is the way of the masters. A master is not a person. Instead, it is a state of awareness. Or you can say continuity. I am sharing with you my experiences and interactions with those masters and disciples. Sufi Brij Mohan Lal, who happened to be my father, was physical father. He was disciple of Naqshbandi Brij Mohan Lal, attained to the state when he was absorbed, the drop has merged into the ocean, Fana fuel shake, and then the ocean merged into the drop, Fana fuel murid, on 11th of December 2018. Knowingly he entered into the state of samadhi. Master never answers your questions. Instead, he answers you. In Master's presence, the questioning mind dissolves. A master can fill you only when you are empty. So the real search is not for the master. The real search is how to be a disciple, how to be childlike, how to be empty within. It is a search how to be a disciple. The greatest problem for inward journey is searching for the disciple within, and that only you have to do. When you are ready, I will come and pour all that I am into you. This is the first step, and the first step is the most difficult one. The moment you are empty, that means you are ready. The master comes and pours himself into you. This is what Bankei told the professor. Empty the cup that is your mind, and I will pour yourself into you. Later on, I will explain the methodology to overcome this first step. When you are empty and you come to the master who is overflowing with God, you are filled. Do you know how does a master transfer his beings? It happened. Buddha gave discourses for 40 years to an almost large crowd of monks every day. One day Buddha came with a flower in his hand, and he came and sat down in the lotus posture. Everyone was waiting for Buddha to say something, but he remained silent. And when such a situation arises, many thoughts begin to crop up float in human mind. Such was the situation of almost all the monks gathered there, except one, Mahakashyap. Mahakashyap was in a state of no mind, no thoughts, just innocence, no ripples, just a pool of silence, a silence that was continuing, deepening. Buddha looked at Mahakashyap. Two silences merged into the one. A deeper silence happened. No thoughts still, no words either. Just merging and deepening silence. How to express this silence? How to express this silence? The Silence dances. Nikhil said, you think Buddha did not dance? Buddha danced in his meditation. He was a dancer. His silence was a dancing silence, and you cannot see the dancing silence. Such a simple word. Buddha dances in his dhyan. Buddha danced in his dhyan. And Meera attained to dhyan in her dance, in her singing. A real master will not try to convince you of truth, but definitely he will persuade you towards truth. Parable is a unique way. Even those who are not searching for truth in any way are usually stuck by a parable. Parable makes something available to these people suddenly. And one thing is certain. Everyone likes stories because they hang around your consciousness. Stories have a tendency to hang around your consciousness. You cannot forget them. It is only a question of not a question of forgetting them. You can remember them easily. Stories have a unique way of reaching to the deepest core of your being, so is jokes. Sufis have been using parables as their device. Zen use the koans as a device. Tao or yoga or tantra way. A certain disciple decided to seek a perfect master. Master appears the moment you are ready. Surrender to your consciousness. Let the cup be empty so that Master can pour all that he is into you. Only this much for this morning. Until tomorrow, same time, 6 o'clock Trinidad time, 5 o'clock Eastern time, and 3:30 in the afternoon Indian Standard Time. Until then, take care and do have a pleasant day.